details that go in there. From there, we started working with the advisory board, and Stephen is on our advisory board, setting some policies and figuring that out. I've been working very hard on getting volunteers recruited so we can be up and running on our full hours, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then I sent out a survey, or SGA sent out a survey for us that was asking about the names. So how many in here voted on our new name? Yeah, did your name win? Some of you, most of you, maybe. No, some of them. So we went from the K-State Food Pantry to being called Cat's Cupboard. And the reason that we wanted to find a better name was that the idea of a food bank or a food pantry is pretty stigmatized. We have a preconceived notion as to what that means, and we wanted it to be more friendly sounding and more open, but we wanted it to be more ownership. So it's C-A-T-S apostrophe, in case you ever write it down, because we all own the pantry. It's all of ours. And in that survey that I also sent out, or the SGA sent out, we found some hours. So right now we are in our soft opening. We've been stacking shelves today. We've moved completely out of Halton today, so we accomplished that today. And we are now tracking all of the food so we can monitor what's coming in and what's going out. But we found that we knew some evenings were going to be important, and so after our grand opening, which will be October 16th, which is World Food Day, we will be open during the week, as well as Monday evenings, Wednesday evenings, and Sunday evenings. So we will have some accessibility for students so they can come up and get some food if they want to drive and load their cars up, as well as when the residence hall's dining facilities are closed. We opened our doors yesterday, and so we have already had some students come in and getting food. One student had been using the service before, but today I had a student who is a single mom of 3 children come in and get some food, and she had just heard about it. And she is a international student, so she's not eligible for any of the community services or SNAP or any of those programs. We were a big help to her. We alleviated a lot of that stress for her this week. And so I am hopeful that we'll be able to continue to alleviate that stress. As far as donations go, we have already had some great donation drives. We had a sorority bring in a lot of peanut butter and jelly, so thank you if you're in that sorority. We were looking for that. We are fully stocked on a lot of vegetables, but we are short still on things like pasta, sauces, fruit, cereals, hot cereals, and then a lot of those hygiene products like shampoo and conditioner, soap, that we all need every single day, deodorant, that kind of stuff. So if you have a group that's interested in doing a donation drive, let me know, and we can find maybe a unique little thing for you to do. So that is our update right now. Also seeking out volunteers. So if you're interested in helping out at the pantry, if you have some time, we have a front desk representative position. And it's basically, we'll have a lot of those positions. It's schedule yourself for when you're available during the week. We'll be sharing a Google Calendar, and you will be the front line for students that are coming in to use the service. So basically, an ability to use confidentiality and an importance on dignity, so you can serve your peers, and helping them with the process, and then also doing resource referral if they're in need of other resources, letting them know what campus has to offer, or encouraging them to speak with me if they need some more assistance. And then I'm also looking for some people that would be willing to help with marketing events, tabling events, writing K-State Today announcements, sidewalk chalking, letting people know where we're at, because we know that word of mouth is really big on this campus. So that is a lot in a brief, condensed time. We had our forum and our kickoff last week, so be looking for our grand opening. We're going to have a dinner, I think, so that's the goal of barbecue. So,
all right. Are there any questions for the speaker?
Yes.
Senator Rostenbowl.
I was wondering what your requirements are for a student who comes in, or
Yeah.
have to be a student. How does that work?
Yeah, that's a very good question. You have to be a student. You have to be part-time or full-time enrolled at K-State, and that's it. So we do not ask you to bring in your income requirements, and there's a number of reasons for that. But we find that you may not need us in the beginning of the semester, but if your car breaks down, we don't want you to have to choose between selling a textbook back early or not buying your prescriptions or food. So that might look like you might need us every week. You might only need us once for your whole 4 years that you're here. You might not need us at all, but that we are serving students where they need. And we find that students actually, so far that I've seen, people take less than what than actually taking more, because they're like, I need this, but somebody else probably needs it more, so I'm going to leave it on the shelf. And so encouraging that. Yep. So the first time that someone comes into the pantry, they'll fill out a basic form, and I ask a couple of things like, are you full? Are you part-time? Are you traditional? Are you a non-traditional student? I ask if you're receiving any other services like SNAP or WIC or TANF or reduced meals and school lunches if you have kids. And then if not, would you be interested in learning more in case you're eligible for that? And then I ask some questions like, do you have transportation? And what kind of cooking supplies do you have at home? Because we want to also stock ourselves with things like pots and pans if that's what our students need, because you can't make food if you don't have ways to cook that. Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you.
Are there any other? Director Kuchera?
So what are some ways that students can help decrease the stigma of students coming to CATS?
That is a very, very good question. And that is one of the biggest things that we're going to be working on, is decreasing that stigma, because there is a big stigma with food pantries. And that is just telling other people about it. Hey, did you know there's a pantry? Sharing those ideas, just letting people know that we're here, sharing our Facebook and our Twitter posts. I have my own Twitter, but I don't really use it. So I'm trying to get good at Twitter. So if you've got some Twitter ideas, give me a call. I'm from the generation of Facebookers. So those kind of things, sharing that information and getting involved, and say, hey, I'm doing a fundraiser or a donation drive for the food pantry for the cat's cupboard, and then talking to people about what that means. But yeah, and I think we've got some classes interested in doing some de-stigma type activities with us too, some campus community awareness education. Yeah, good question.
Senator Pitts.
What is the relationship to the Manhattan community in regards to the food pantry?
That is a good question. So I have been in Manhattan, Kansas for 17 years. I came here in 2000, August 18th. I moved into Putnam. And I stayed at K-State for 8 years. I got 2 different degrees. 4 if you count all my extra degrees on there. And from there, I worked in community mental health. So I worked with adults that had severe and persistent mental illness. So adults diagnosed with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, those kind of things. And case management basically helps people find resources to maintain living in a community and healthy living. From there, I got my master's, became a substance abuse counselor. And then after that, I worked for K-State Research and Extension at Fort Riley. For a brief time, they had a military extension program. So I did family education, working with soldiers on reintegration, post-deployment. So families reintegrating after war, which was tough, interesting work. And after that, I was an advisor at K-State in arts and sciences, and I worked at UFM Community Learning Center as the credit course coordinator. So those 1 hour yoga, you probably got T-vals from me. So I'm sorry if those kept coming through. It was an automatic system. But if you recognize my name, it's all the T-vals. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any further? Inton Karanja.
So right now we don't have any of a standard set. It may just be that you want to come and you get, I have a shelf that's just got crackers and granola bars when those come in. And if you're hungry and you didn't bring your lunch and you want to grab something really quickly, and that may be something you need to do 2 or 3 times a week. With our parking situation, I can't expect you to maybe carry a week's worth of groceries with 2 kids at home across campus. If we start to see an issue where that has become an issue, then the board we will work together to redefine that. Right now, we have enough food on our shelves, and we hope to have enough food on our shelves, and that people will get what they need. And what I have seen so far is that people are actually taking less than they need and not more, because they feel like other people are in need. So if it becomes an issue, then we'll readdress it. So we're brand new, and we're trying to provide those services. So yeah, that's a good question. But they fill out the form the first time, and then after they swipe every time, so we'll be tracking. So if we're seeing people come in 3-4 times a week, every week, it's somebody that I will have their contact information. I can reach out to them and see if there's other services we can help them find to benefit them. So that's a good question, yeah.
Time for questions expired. Is there a motion? Seeing none. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Are there any other further speakers for open period? Yes, Leslie.
Gotta set up. All right. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'll say my name in a little bit when I introduce myself, but I will be talking about DACA. So here we go. I thought about dressing up to speak in front of you tonight, but then I just thought about how I wanted you guys to meet me for the first time. I wanted you guys to see Leslie Ramirez, not the president of LULAC, but Leslie Ramirez, an immigrant herself, a daughter of 2 Mexicans who came because they wanted to give a better future to their kids, a sister of a DACA recipient, a friend to many who also have DACA. I wanted you to see Leslie Ramirez, the human being, not the illegal alien, which I am labeled as, who comes to take from this nation, but rather I am someone who generates hope and aspires to be an inspiration to others and to the future generation, for I want to become an English teacher. I want to be there for everyone, despite of their ethnicity, their religious practices, their sexuality. I want to be someone who people can look up to and see hope. But right now, I am hopeful. I do have faith. But at the same time, I do have struggles and I do have worries. I worry about my sister being taken away from my family. I worry about one day not being able to see my friends anymore. It's hard. It's hard to go to class and sit there and pretend that everything is all right. It's hard to stand up here and look at some of you guys, because I feel like even though some of you guys raise your hands and say, yeah, I know what DACA is, you guys may not understand the worries, the guilt that you feel, because unfortunately you grow up feeling guilt at the same time, because people keep telling you, you're here to take away, you're here to steal jobs, you're here because of you, my son didn't get a scholarship or anything like that. But in reality, they don't see and they don't show what we really bring to this country, because honestly, I'm tired of people when they try to talk about why DACA should be here, they should be here because they contribute to the economy. I agree, we do contribute to the economy, but we contribute more values than just money. We are more than just money. We're not just bags of money that, should be here just for the benefit. We're here because we deserve to be here. We have, like DACA recipients, as Priscilla and as Evelyn have stated, or minors who were brought here. I was brought when I was 6 months old. My mother, she put her faith in this family and literally gave them, she just said, I'll meet you at the other side and hope for the best. I could have been kidnapped, I could have been, but she had hope, and that's all she went with. And right now I'm trying to do the same. I'm trying to have hope, and I'm trying to not just go with it. I'm actually trying to do things. With that being said, I know Priscilla brought up that we're going to Topeka. It will be October the 6th, and it's going to be from noon to 5. It's a Friday. So if any of you guys are interested, please let me know. We would be more than happy to have as many people as we can there to just show the support and to just make sure that everyone gets to see that we exist, that we are the future, and that we're just going to keep growing. Because I didn't have the option to pick if I wanted to come here or not, but I am going to fight, and I do have the option to say that I'm here to stay. So thank you. I just did the mic drop, but I realized you guys do any questions. So
Yeah. Are there any questions? Senator Rustin Paul.
Hi, thank you for coming. I just wanted to know what the plan was for October 6th.
yes, okay. So we were trying to actually have this rally in Topeka like 2 weeks ago, but one of our LULAC members who was trying to organize this realized that we needed a permit, and we were trying to make sure that it was something safe, that it wasn't just anything like we didn't want to go to Topeka and cause chaos at all, like no. So she managed to reach out to the police, and we got one of the people there is actually going to like everything is organized. So what our purpose is for us to just show up. We're gonna try to make it as get as many people as we can. We've reached out to other organizations outside of Manhattan. So we have people from KC, we have people from Topeka itself. We're trying to reach out to Emporia just to show like Congress and everybody down there that we're here, and that there's many of us, like we're a force, and yeah. So we're not trying to burn, burn down. No. I'm not trying to get arrested. I don't want a mugshot like Priscilla.
Are there any other further questions? Senator Pitts.
You said that, many of us can never begin to understand.
Right.
Feel every day as
Yes.
it's like president and
Yes.
all of that. But what can we do? Because we don't understand. We weren't raised
Right.
with it. What can we do to understand and to help you?
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think anybody will ever 100% understand any struggle unless they're in it. But what you can do is like what you did tonight and listen to Priscilla or listen to Evelyn's story, listen to me talking, getting well educated about this situation. I think that is the steps that you would want to take if you really are interested in getting to know what a problem is, for any kind of problem. I'm not black. I don't know, any of their problems like that. But being educated, surrounding myself by people who are living through that struggle, that helps you, gain more information about what's the situation that is going on. So I really do appreciate that you're asking, and what can you do? And my response is you can, start by, listening to us, and then not just listening, but also speaking to others about what you heard. It's very important that every one of you guys who is here and who is willing to help DACA speaks up and educates everyone around them as well, on campus and at home, wherever. Thank you.
Are there any other further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any further speakers for open period? All right. We'll go ahead and approve the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Senator Martin?
I move we approve the minutes.
It's been moved and seconded that we'll approve the minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. And all those who oppose. All right, minutes approved. All right. Senator Valdez.
I move we suspend the rules and push resolution 19 to be right after announcements. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and consider resolution 19. This is not up for debate. It requires a 2/3 of a vote. May I remind that only senators can vote, and interns, unfortunately, you cannot vote. But once again, it requires a 2/3, and senators can only vote. All right, we'll start in this section right here, section A. Senators, all those in favor? Raise your eye. Raise your hand. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. Middle section. All right. And the C section. All right. Will the author for resolution 19 please come forward?
So first, to address some changes. During the last week, well, the first change is the whereas clause in lines 66 to 68, we're going to strike that. That was a forecasted amount from a particular article, and there were many different forecast numbers for what the GDP impact would be to the state of Kansas if DACA were eliminated. So we decided to remove that just to make sure that it was a strictly factual resolution. In addition, we made some formatting, grammar changes. We added list authors to the resolution, including a student who's not even in the SGA body, which was fantastic. We also added a couple appropriate individuals to Section 2. We added a citation to the clause, the whereas clause in line that deals with the Kansas DACA number of Kansas DACA recipients, line 61. We added the final whereas clause in line 84 that clarifies to someone who's not at K-State what K-State student government is and who it represents. And then there was Chair Bickrud brought up the idea last week about adding people from the federal government executive branch to the Section 2 of the resolution, but we decided not to do that because we felt it might mix up the message, because what the resolution is doing is it's calling for permanent protections which can truly only be provided through some act of Congress. So those were all the changes. Does anyone have any questions or clarification? I can get more specific on any of those changes.
Are there any other questions? Senator Rustin Poole.
So I just recently thought of this, and I've looked over this like half a dozen times by now, but on line 90, you called for the permanent protection of Dreamers. And Dreamers is a nickname given to DACA recipients because the DREAM Act, which did not pass. I was just wondering, what was your logic when you chose that phrase?
Because we're calling for permanent protections for DACA recipients, which are also called Dreamers, and I encourage, hopefully, the American population and Congress and the people we're sending this to dream along with them and to get to know their experiences some more. Does that answer your question? Mm-hmm.
It was just like, why did you choose Dreamers versus DACA?
Just because.
Are there any other further questions or corrections? Seeing none, first right to debate.
Thank you. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. That's by Harriet Tubman. We have about 800,000 dreamers here in the United States, and removing the DACA protections increases the urgency of their status. So I'm going to look at this tonight from an economic impact and also our cultural identity as we figure out where we're going to go as the United States of America. So first, a brief economic lesson. If there are fewer people in a country, which could happen with the repeal of DACA, fewer people buy products, and therefore there are fewer jobs out there. One of the arguments for repealing DACA is that it would allow more jobs to become free for domestic workers to take their place, but that doesn't take into account the shrinkage of an economy as more people, as there are fewer people buying products, and that also leads to higher turnover costs for businesses that have been figured to be potentially in the billions of dollars, and also significant GDP shrinkage for the United States over the next 10 years. From talking with some of our DACA recipients, and thanks so much to the members of HALO and LULAC for coming tonight and for sharing your stories. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. One of the comments that I got from talking to DACA recipients was the phrase that many of them are considered to be too Mexican to be American and too American to be Mexican. From my conversations with some of them, I've learned that dreamers, some of them are not even bilingual. English is their first language, and they fully identify as Americans, but they're truly people without a country. And I think people in our government and people in our leadership, a lot of people love the sense of power. And it has been said that people oftentimes confuse the term power and control with justice. Some people think that power is the ability to exercising justice and executing that justice. But Indeed, power is when we have the right to execute justice, and we don't, and instead we offer a pardon. There might be every legal justification to remove the DACA protections or to deport individuals, but these are kids. They were brought here by their parents, and this is the only country that many of them have known. True power is instead granting grace instead of executing justice. And this leads us to the question that we face as a country, and that is, what type of a country are we? I can't speak for the beliefs of others, but I can speak for what I believe. I turn to what's written on our country's doorstep, and this is stanza 2 from the new Colossus by Emma Lazarus. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she, with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send those, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door, and I will stand by Lady Liberty and embrace this family. A lot of times we talk at K-State about what it means to be a family and that we belong to a family. And then people in the majority wonder why maybe some of our diversity communities don't feel included or welcome here and don't feel that they're a part of that family. But are we truly a family if people are too scared to walk at night and are afraid about what might be waiting for them on their way to class? Instead of just paying lip service that for so long has been merely a family of the majority, let us embrace the DACA and the other diversity members of our family. Let us stand united tonight and commit this day and every day forward to work to turn this ideal into a reality.
All right. Are there any other further questions? Ben.
So, when you asked Congress on legislative action, in line 47, is there any, did you want to say the DREAM Act, passing the DREAM Act again, or be more specific, or was that by choice to be more vague to allow them to choose what they want to do?
At least when I was drafting this, I think the idea was to include the idea that we need permanent protections. That's what we're hoping for. If it's something through a vehicle like the DREAM Act or something else, whatever Congress is able to work out, I think that's what we're calling for, leaving it more general instead of just talking about one single piece of legislation. Thank you.
Are there any other further questions? Okay, good to go. Looking for debates in the negatives. Seeing none, looking for debates in the positives. Senator McIntyre.
Yeah, I'm way taller than Steve. So I think we're pretty unanimous on our thoughts on this, but I really wanted to come up here and speak to this because I don't think it's enough for us to sit in this room and pass this and think that's enough. So I really wanted to task this body to go out and speak to someone in the next 2 days, someone about this. We've had a lot of heavy conversation the last week, everything that's been going on our campus, this act, what's happening in our nation and our state, and this is something that directly affects people that we care about, that we call part of our family. And I don't want you or me or anyone else to think that just passing this resolution and voting yes on this is enough. So I'm really up here just to challenge you individually to go out, speak about it, to contact your representatives and talk about it, because I know that there are so many people that feel passionate about this.
Are there any questions? Seeing none. Looking for debates in the negative. Seeing none. Looking for debates in the positive. Senator Rustin Poole.
Hey everyone. So a lot of you might not know me personally, but both my parents are immigrants. They both came on student visas, and
So I'm a first generation, I guess, is what we're called. And I don't know if anyone else can trace back their family to when their family immigrated to the US, but I think as far as anyone here who was born in the US, you've always felt like you belonged because you were here as a little kid and you grew up here as a little kid. And even though I grew up with two nationalities, I have two passports and two citizenships and two of everything, and I had my like whole American cultural upbringing and I had my whole Iranian cultural upbringing. And I would just say that dreamers are pretty much the same thing. Like if you came here when you were 6 months old, or DACA recipients are pretty much the same thing. If you came here when you were 6 months old, you probably had two upbringings because you probably went to public school and you had all these American friends who had all that experience, and then you had your whole family life and your family friends and all that experiences. And so a lot of you might have differing opinions on immigration, and that's all great and well, and you can debate those until whatever saying you want to throw in there. But this is not a like DACA. I don't know how many of you know this. Hopefully all of you by now, because this has been a really big issue for a long time. But DACA does not have a path to citizenship, and DACA is not a permanent thing. It's a 2-year thing that you renew so that you can work and stay in the US and not have to worry about being deported. And so when we say that we hope that, or when we call for protection of DACA recipients, and if a DACA-like legislation is passed, that basically just, if the same thing passes, then it's going to be DACA recipients can stay for 2 more years, and they can work for 2 more years, and they can pay taxes for 2 more years, and they can do all that. So they're not, DACA doesn't give anyone citizenship. So if that's like something that you're like, then that's just something to keep in mind. Now, you can have differing opinions on who should be allowed to be in this country and who should not, but if you've lived here your whole life, that's something to take into consideration, or nearly your whole life.
Are there any questions? Seeing none. Looking for debate in the negative. Looking for debate in the positive. Is there a motion? Senator Valdez. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution 1718-19 unanimously. Any objections? Seeing none, resolution 1718-19 passes unanimously. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda, announcements for this week. The City University Special Projects, they're gonna have a couple of meetings. If you guys have any like changes or improvements that you have that could improve any student's K-State experience, share them on OakSync. President Myers is having a state address next week, so I think it'll be a great opportunity for all of us to attend to understand what direction the university is going at. Tonight's proxies, we have Penny for Needery, Tedro for Elliott, and Marco for Works. And our SGA member of this week will go to our Multicultural Affairs Director, Mary Abunaban, for planning the Solidarity rally last week and working to create a lecture series for speaker on the topic of inclusion. And on the agenda, you guys can see the upcoming events this week. That clap was for you, Barry. All right. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, there are no commendations for this week. Now we're going to go ahead and for approval for appointments. Is there a motion? Intern Jewel. Intern Coordinator Jewel. It's been moved that we consider resolution 1718-21. Wait, is it the one? Yes. Are there any object? Oh, you second? Oh, it's been moved and seconded that we consider resolution 1718-21. Will the author please come forward?
Okay. Whereas the position of SGA intern was sufficiently advertised, whereas 122 applicants for Student Senate intern positions were received and 63 applicants were allowed to interview, and whereas SGA interns are subject to Student Senate approval, be it resolved that the following individuals be approved as SGA interns for the 2017-2018 term: Nathan Bothwell, Shelby Carpenter, Mariana Cruz, Rebecca Dahl, Sarah Gammon, Saiba Grover, Alexandra Hornung, Katie Horton, Alexis Hoskinson, Adam Houghton, Natalie Jabin, Nicholas Cachelli, Ali Karamali, Cynthia Karana, Aaron Kellerman, Nathan King, Aaron McAdam, Maggie Malmberg, Kirby McCandless, Emily Meinhardt, Julia Pekar, Sarah Pelton, Brock Putnam, Ben Roth, Jonathan Rodriguez, Michael Savarino, Kristen Shao, Carson Chumland, Grace Wheeler, Tel Whitmer, Mason Witzke, and Matthew Zeich.
All right.
And if you guys could all
Come forward. Oh, yeah. My bad. Senator McIntyre. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this unanimously. Will the interns therefore come forward?
You're good.
Huh? Wait, do you? It said unanimously. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of SGA intern and will do to the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. All right. Name, major, and then hometown, and
I am Mason Witzke. I'm from Topeka, political science, pre-law major. I don't know what my favorite smell is. It's an interesting question. I don't know. I think I generally just like food, so if it's food, I'm in.
I'm Erin McAdam. I'm also from Topeka. I'm majoring in food development.
Hello everybody, my name is Adam Houghton. I'm a sophomore studying animal science pre-vet from Stillwell, Kansas, and my favorite smell is freshly baked chocolate chip cookies.
My name is Matt Zeich. I'm a junior studying marketing from Omaha, Nebraska, and my favorite smell is anything pumpkin related.
I'm Emily Meinhardt. I'm from American and I'm a dual major in science, and I have a minor in leadership. And I'm a farm girl, so my favorite smell is cranberry.
My name is Tel Whitmer. I'm a freshman in agricultural economics, and I am originally from Holton, Kansas. And my favorite smell, well, when you hug your grandma, I like to smell my grandma. Something to think about.
I'm Alex Hornan. I'm a sophomore in early childhood development and education. I'm from a small town in Colorado called Carson, and my favorite smell is like clean laundry sheets and stuff. It's hard to beat.
Hi, my name is Ben Roth. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm majoring in political science, and my favorite smell is an evergreen tree on Christmas morning.
I'm Kirby McCandless. I'm from Wichita. I'm majoring in life science and I'm pre-dental. And I'd say my favorite smell is probably coffee.
Hi everyone, my name is Shelby Carpenter. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I am studying education and political science and leadership studies, and I have to say my favorite smell is like really nice like campfire.
Hi everyone, my name is Lydia Proctor. I'm a sophomore from Olathe, Kansas, and I'm majoring in communications, minor in political science, and my favorite smell is
Hi, my name is Katie Horton. I'm a freshman studying business and leadership studies from Overland Park, Kansas. My favorite smell is Christmas. Hi, my name is Erin Kellerman. I'm a freshman studying pre-nursing, and I'm from Leawood, Kansas. And my favorite smell is probably freshly cut grass. Hi, I'm Julia Packard. I'm a freshman from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm studying nutrition and kinesiology, and my favorite smell is a swimming pool.
My name is Nate Rothwell. I'm a freshman studying political science and pre-law. I'm from Tonganoxie, Kansas, and my favorite smell is probably like a bottle of vanilla right after you like open up the first time.
Hi, I'm Maggie Malmberg. I'm from Phillipsburg, Kansas. I'm a freshman majoring in biology, pre-optometry, and my favorite smell is a baby apple pie.
Hi, I'm Kristen Chow. I'm a freshman in political science. I'm from Shawnee, Kansas, and my favorite smell is plastic.
Hi, I'm Sarah Salmon. I'm a freshman in agricultural economics.
I'm a freshman. I'm open option, and my favorite scent is like right after you open the can of tennis balls.
My name is Nicholas Heckley from Spring Hill, Kansas. I'm doing chemical engineering pre-law track, and I also enjoy the smell of lavender.
My name is Simon Grover. I'm a sophomore from Lenexa, Kansas. I'm majoring in medical chemistry, biology, and that, and my favorite smell is
Hi guys, I'm Natalie, and I'm a freshman. I'm studying political science. I'm from Olathe, Kansas, and my favorite smell would probably be whatever my mom puts in our laundry.
Hi, my name is Nathan King. I'm a sophomore here at Kansas State. I'm studying journalism and mass communications with an emphasis in public relations, and minoring in political science. And I'm from a small town called Troy, Kansas. It's up in the squiggly corner of Kansas. That's what I tell people. But now that we've gotten everybody to say what their favorite smell is, I'm not on my sixth option for what my favorite smell is, so probably mint.
Are there any other senators or positions that need to be sworn in? Are there any other senators or positions that need to be sworn in? I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the Student Government Association Student Senator seat and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Kansas State University Student Government Association. If you say so, say aye.
Aye.
All right, name, major, where you from? Yeah.
My name's Fred Oxler. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I'm majoring in mechanical and electrical engineering. And my favorite smell is probably burgers.
My name's Caleb Dinas. I'm from Manhattan, Kansas. I'm majoring in political communication studies with a leadership minor. And my favorite smell is, since somebody already said pumpkin, it's going to be lilac.
I'm Rachel Ogren. I'm a marketing major. I'm a senior. I'm from Kansas City, and my favorite smell would have to be rain.
All right. Next item on our agenda, committee reports. All the committee minutes have been posted on OrgSync. Are there any committee chairs with any further announcements? Any committee chairs with further announcements? Seeing none. Is there anyone? Vice Chair Kylie Andrews.
Hi guys, I'm gonna go up here. We are gonna do DPC updates every cycle instead of once a semester this year. So that's why I'm up here, because Tendai's running the meeting, so figured that would be easier. So we had 4 proposals through DPC. DPC is something, for those of you who don't know, that's the Diversity Program Council. And we hear proposals about different diversity programs or events that could be put on campus, and then we get to choose whether or not they follow our guidelines and those kind of things, so then we can fund them. So that we have 4 quarters or 4 cycles that we go through. But this year, or this cycle, we had 4 applicants, and they were the Children's and Adolescents Literature Community for our conference, where they were going to bring in a author, and then the National Organization of Minority Architecture Students for a Diversity Week, the Kansas State University Qualitative Research Student Organization, where they brought in an author and a speaker to kind of talk to everybody, and then the last one was the India Student Association for an event called Sanskriti. We funded the first one fully, so the Children's and Adolescent Literature Community fully, at $11,775. The National Organization of Minority Architecture Students, we decided not to fund it all because the only people that were going to be able to go were architecture students, and we try to look for events that are looking to everybody on campus and not just one specific college. So that was kind of our reasoning for that. So we said no to that one completely. The next one was the Kansas State University Qualitative Research Student Organization, which we funded at $4,900, but they asked for $5,435. But one of that was food, and we can't fund food for students, and so we kind of just thought it was easier to take the food out of there altogether. And then secondly, they asked money for rental space for here at the Union, but we looked at the cost, and they were just asking for more than what any room here at the Union cost, and I just don't think they knew, so we just lowered it to what the Forum Hall costs instead. So it wasn't anything big. And then the last one was the Sanskriti event, and they asked for $7,270, and we funded them $7,170, and it's just because we can't fund costumes, and one of the things was the bangles in there were $100. So all we did was take that out because physically we can't give that to them based on our bylaws. So that's us.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none. Are there any other further committee chair reports? Chair Bikurid.
The GR committee thanks everybody for really pushing the City University Fund. We had 52 different submissions that students have written for the City University Fund, and that includes, in most of them at least, more than one idea. So we will be meeting tonight directly after this meeting to start the preliminary review of those 52 submissions, now that we've heard, so we can move that forward for our meeting with joint leadership next week.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none. Next item on our agenda are directors' reports. Are there any directors with reports? Director Abunaban.
So I just want to say thank you to everyone who came to the rally. Great attendance. Really want to say I appreciate everyone who stayed, listened. It was a really great turnout. I just want you to take a second to think about everything that everyone said about DACA. So I mentioned last time that we were going to have a letter writing campaign for senators. I've been working with Trent on this. He's going to try to develop more of a model. People are less familiar with writing it, and we're going to have a month-long letter writing campaign that we're going to eventually send out to our senators and representatives. That's going to be in partner with Halo and LUAC. So if you are interested in that, come find me afterwards, and I'll get your information down, and then when we have all that, you can help spread the word to organizations, write letters yourself. The more letters we have, the better of an impact we're going to have, so just keep that in mind. Like I said, if you're interested, find me, and I'll get your name down. There's also some other initiatives happening. We're going to start a workshop series to have a more proactive approach in the whole diversity and inclusion talk on campus. So if you have ideas for speakers, I have some. If you have ideas for workshops, if you have people that you think would be valuable to bring to this campus, or you have ideas, also find me afterwards. I'm more than happy to listen to your ideas. But yeah, any questions?
Are there any questions for the director? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other directors with any reports? All right, seeing none. There are no minor allocations this week, so we'll go ahead and jump on to the next item on the agenda, was the final action. Will the author for Resolution 20 please come forward? Were there any corrections or changes?
Yeah, so changes. First change, authors in line 5 and 6. Secondly, in line 25, that whereas clause, it started with a significant number. We kind of just took it out, felt that it wasn't really necessary to include a value. The third change, in line 42, rather than sexual orientation, that was changed to sexuality. And then in line 53 and 54, Derek Jackson was added as a recipient.
Are there any questions or corrections? Senator Rostenpaul? All right. Seeing that, first right to debate.
Yeah, definitely. When students of color have to walk around campus in pairs, we know there's a problem on our campus. When those same students can't even show up to the rally that was in support of them because they're scared of students with guns on campus, we know that there's a problem. Really, I just want to reaffirm what Senator McIntyre said earlier about not just passing this resolution and thinking that it's okay. We need to go out, we need to have conversations, participate in community dialogues, and I really just charge all of you to advocate for students that you see are being unjustly treated. For the marginalized groups of students who don't necessarily have a voice, don't have a voice in this room, really reach out to them and show them that you're there for them. So with that, I stand for questions.
Are there any questions? Director Kuchera.
I was talking with some senators, and in line 41, there was concern that maybe hateful speech could be subjective, depending upon in the context that it's written. Is there a chance of striking, especially if they're founded on, and just making it, as well as any hateful speech targeting gender identity, ethnic origin, religion, race?
I think that's a great change.
All right. Are there any other questions? Director Moore?
Yes.
Are there any other questions? The gentleman at the back.
Jonathan.
So what's your name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yes. Jonathan Cole, added as an author.
Jonathan Cole. If you want your name to be added as an author, please go ahead and text me or email one of us up here. Are there any other questions? Seeing none. Looking for a debate in the negative. Looking for a debate in the positive. Seeing none, is there a motion? Senator Valdez. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution unanimously. Is there any objections? Seeing none, resolution 20 approved unanimously. All right. Will the author for Bill 17-1802 please come forward? Gerald, you can have mine.
All changes have been made. Oh, no. Yeah, so this is the closing of accounts legislation. Some highlights is that there was just over $231,000 allocated last year. And that is just over 10%, or just over 10% of the allocated funds were then returned, which is actually a really low number, so we should be proud of that.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, first right to debate.
It's the closing of accounts, kind of has to happen.
Wait. Are there any negatives? Positives? All right, we'll proceed to roll call to approve Bill 2.
All right. Adams? Yes. Ackers? Yes. Albers? Andreas? Yes. Archer? Yes. Cool. Arnoldy? Bergston? Yes. Bogner? Yes. Bowler? Yes. Breen? Bickerwood? Yes. DeMoranville? Yes. Dole? Yes. Elliott? Yes. Flores? Yes. Fuller? Yes. Garcia? Yes. Garrity? Yes. Grandy? Yes. Hendrickson? Yes. Hyen? Ho? Hughes? Yes. Jackson? Yes. Jewell? Yes. Kallenberger? Yes. Kelly? Yes. Kidd? Yes. Klein? Yes. Lonker? Maples? Yes. Markle? Yes. Martin? Yes. McDermott? McIntyre? Yes. Mertens? Yes. Meyer? Yes. Nichols? Yes. Neatery?
Yes, by proxy.
Nordstrom?
Yes.
Ogren? Yes. Orth?
Yes.
Oxler?
Yes.
Penny?
Yes.
Papoon?
Yes.
Pitts?
Yes.
Pruitt?
Yes.
Renz? Rostenpour?
Yes.
Swanson?
Yes.
Tidrow?
Yes.
Thomas? Valdez?
Yes.
Wishkop? Works?
Yes. By proxy.
Zwick?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 48-0-0.
Bill 17-1802 passes with a roll call of how many? 48 to 0-0. All right. Next item on our agenda, there were no introduction to any minor allocations, so we'll go ahead and jump into introduction of legislation. Is there a motion? Senator Valdez? It's been moved and seconded that we consider Bill 17-1803. Will the author please come forward? It's been moved and seconded that the author summarize.
Okay. So this bill, with the restructuring of different student services this summer and everything that's happened there, now some of the wording is off in the privilege fee documents. So this bill just goes and switches those over. So in sections 1, 2, and 3, we're striking out Office of Student Activities and Services and inserting Center for Student Involvement in all those places. And that does not change where money can and can't go or anything. It's just the wording.
Are there any questions? Director Kuchera?
It's
I believe this is the only place it's mentioned just pertaining to privilege fee. But for more information on that, you can get a hold of Chair Neatery as well.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none. All right. All right, we're now moving on to our second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Jonathan?
Okay. So, who knows what the Graham Cassidy bill is? Raise your hand, please. That's like less than what I thought. Okay, cool. So right now, it's a bill being posed before Congress, specifically the Senate. I know I'm asking a lot since you've had a lot of open speakers already, and we're kind of all over the place, but that's okay. We really need you to contact your senators. Jerry Moran is a critical vote right now. He's currently undecided. So he's taking tallies from his constituents to figure out what he needs to do. So he's trying to get more information. Currently, what the Graham Cassidy bill does is that it basically ends the Affordable Care Act. I know that's a little bit polarizing, but people will literally die if we end this act as it is. I know it's not perfect, but at the same time, we need to make sure that we have something better in place than what the Graham Cassidy bill is. Currently, 241,000 Kansans will be affected because of this, and 403,000 will be at risk because of the Graham Cassidy bill. So it's not just like, oh, it's some other group. It's actual Kansans here. It will basically massively redistribute funding from states that were pro-Medicaid expansion to states that were not pro-Medicaid expansion. Keep in mind the Kansas legislature voted we came really close to overriding the Sam Brownback's veto on the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Kansas. Another big thing too is that it ends coverage for pre-existing conditions. So a lot of people that go to Kansas State even are affected just by ending that specific thing. So as long as if we are active enough and if we are calling Jerry Moran, sending him emails, writing him letters, doing all that good stuff, we can pretty much push him to vote no on the Graham Cassidy bill. I have a letter template if somebody needs one to write a letter to him, all that good stuff. So if you need to reach me, come see me after this. It's really important that we push before September 30th because after September 30th hits, basically there's no way that they can get the votes for it. So I'm actually going to DC I have the potential to go to DC leaving Sunday and coming back Tuesday to help lobby for it. So yeah, that's my soapbox speech.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other speakers for open period? Senator Kelly?
Make this quick. First of all, welcome interns and other new members to Senate. It's nice to see you all. I just want to let you all know that I will be chairing a special committee looking at the kind of disproportionate membership we have in SGA and kind of supplemental programs that we can kind of instill in our culture to help bring students in and engage them. So if you're interested in that, looking to get 2 or 3 new faces in that committee, so find me after Senate.
Any questions? Seeing none. Are there? Director Kuchera.
I serve as an organist for a local church, and so this Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, I will be one of the 3 organists playing an hour-and-a-half concert at First Presbyterian Church. So I have quite a variety of music, so it should be entertaining. So I'm the third of those 3 players to go. So if you have any questions, come find me. It's at First Presbyterian Sunday at 3.
Are there any questions? Okay. Senator McIntyre.
I just want to bring up again, you should have gotten an email from Caroline this past week because it is Mental Health and Wellness Week. So there are events that are going on tomorrow and Saturday. We have the Out of the Darkness Walk on Saturday that starts at 10 a.m. and Stop the Stigma tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the quad. There's bubble wrap. And I unfortunately won't be able to go Saturday because I'm actually attending a funeral for someone that committed suicide last week that I'm really good friends with. So this has been a really big week for me. So I would really appreciate if you guys did go out, or if you were able to, or kind of look into it or talk to people about it. And if you're not aware of like some of the opportunities on campus to like reach out and connect with, please talk to probably an older senator because we probably heard about them before. So we can really be good advocates for that because it affects a lot of people. So thanks.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other speakers? Senator Pitts.
Okay, everybody, I'm not going to go to the time because there's something to do. But tomorrow, if you care all about higher education, the Government Relations Office will be hosting a brown bag in Union Room 207, and the Government Relations Chair for Kansas Board of Regents will be there discussing issues that will be facing in higher education in this upcoming 2018 legislative session. He's a really awesome guy, former K-Stater. The Director of Government Relations will be there, I'll be there, and it's over the lunch hour from 12 to 1, so bring your lunch and we'll have high meat cookies. So, great people, and it'll be fun to listen to. So,
Any questions? Director Kuchera?
Matt Casey, and he's the Director of Government Relations for K-Board. So, anybody else?
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other speakers for open period? Advisor Harlan. Students first.
That's fair enough. I'm too lazy to walk over there. I did want to take the opportunity tonight to introduce our new Faculty Senate Rep, Rebecca Adams, who's joining us for her first meeting tonight. So along with the interns, be kind to all of our new guests and educate them and help them and answer questions. She's an instructor in the College of Business. She teaches business foundations, and she's also the advisor for the Veteran Student Organization. So obviously students are an important part of her life, and we're glad that she's here to participate.
Okay, are there any other speakers? Senator Kidd.
Okay, I'll keep this brief. Interns, welcome to Senate. It's an awesome experience. Glad you guys are all here. But I met with Jonathan Puchin and Glenn Bickerwood last week about homecoming, and I was thinking about it a little bit more after we met, and I'm like, I haven't said anything to SGA, so let me do that now. My name is Marcus, and I work for the Alumni Association, and part of my role is with student programs, and so part of that includes coordinating homecoming for all of K-State. And so since I'm in Senate now, too, as a grad senator, I thought I'd be remiss if I didn't mention any part of homecoming to you all. Since tonight we've talked about a lot with diversity and inclusion, the theme for this year is Purple Pride Worldwide. And so for those of you that may be first year students here at K-State, homecoming is just a week long celebration of the university where we celebrate the history, and with that, the theme has a big part of that. Like I said, since we've talked about a lot with like DACA and with approval of white nationalism, I thought it'd be important to mention the theme for this year for celebrating diversity, for celebrating all K-Staters, whether they are in the U.S. or abroad. We have a big population of K-State alumni that do not live in the United States, and so I do just want to share that the Alumni Association does see just all of what's going on as a bigger holistic perspective, and that had a lot to do with the theme that we chose for this year. With that, there's a week-long list of celebrations of different events. You guys should have received an email earlier this week about it, but if you have any questions, I know that in addition to being in Senate, and I know that from last week, a lot of us are Greek, but in addition to you being in your chapters as well, if you are in any other organizations, if you guys want to get involved with homecoming, there are many ways to do that, and I'm the point person for that. So if there are any questions, comments or concerns. If you want to talk more about the theme, like I said, John, Glenn, and I had a long talk last week about how we came to this theme. We don't just like pick a name out of a hat. It's actually a pretty long and complex process to make sure that we don't, that we have all different perspectives taken into consideration. But yeah, if you have any questions about that, then just let me know. So,
any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other speakers for open period? Senator Rustin-Poole.
So you might remember that I came up here a couple weeks ago and said, hey, I'm doing concerts in my basement. So there's one coming up next week. So I just wanted to give you a week's heads up. Next Friday, 98.9, the radio station, like over there in McCain, will be bringing 4 local bands to perform in my basement. So there's going to be a bunch of people there. It'll be a good time. So if you want to come, just let me know, and I can give you my address and show up on Friday, September 29th at 9 p.m., and I'll probably be there.
Any other questions? Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other speakers for open period? I have one. Some of you knew, this past summer I was sending out an email about hoping to bring back SGA week. I'm hoping to continue with those plans, so if any of you are interested, please reach out to me. I'm more likely going to set up the meetings during the weekends when other committees are not meeting. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or talk to me after Senate. And then, therefore, our last item on the agenda, so Bill 17-1803 will be referred back to the pre-fee for any corrections or changes. And I forgot to tell you guys what was our quote for this week. And our quote for this week is, education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world, by Nelson Mandela. And with that, we'll proceed to a second roll call. Please listen for your names.
Adams. Here. Ackers. Here. Andreas. Here. Archer. Here. Arnoldy. Bergston. Here. Bogner. Here. Bowler. Here. Breen. Bickerud. Here. DeMoranville. Here. Dole. Here. Elliott. Flores. Fuller. Here. Garcia. Here. Garrity. Here. Grandy. Here. Hendrickson. Here. Hyen. Here. Ho. Holder. Hughes. Here. Jackson. Here. Jewell. Here. Kallenberger. Here. Kelly. Here. Kidd. Here. Klein. Here. Lonker. Maples. Here. Markle. Here. Martin. Here. McDermott. Here. McIntyre. Here. Mertens. Here. Meyer. Here. Nichols. Here. Nordstrom. Here. Ogren. Here. Orth. Here. Oxler. Here. Penny. Here. Pepin. Pitts. Here. Pruitt. Here. Renz. Rostenpour. Here. Swanson. Here. Tedrow. Here. Thomas. Valdez. Here. Wishkop. Zawick. Here. Okay. And interns first, roll call. Exciting stuff. Hopefully I don't butcher your names. I'm sorry if I do. Bothwell. Here. Carpenter. Here. Cruz. Gammon. Here. Grover. Here. Hornung. Here. Okay. Horton. Here. Hugton. Here. Haben. Jabin. Here. Cool. Kachel. Here. Okay. Karangha. Cool. Kellerman. King. Here. Macadam.
Malmberg, McCandless, Meinhardt, Petrar, Pelton, Roth, Rodriguez, Salverno, Schwa, Wheeler, Whitmer, just kidding. Okay, Witzik, Witzke, I'm sorry, cool. And Zahik. Awesome. So we had 23 interns present for roll call and 46 senators.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Papoon. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn same time, same next week. Have a great night, everybody. For all the things.
All the name tags, and I emailed you the list
Okay.
of the right names that they want.
So everybody, it's for everybody.
Everyone's paid for it.
For the name tag.
Cash. I sampled those cash for myself.
Okay. Sounds good. Should be in next week. All right. Do you want me to send you when I put it in and I've done? Do you want me to send you the file so that you can just double check to see the names are correct?